Oh my God. Oh, Aaliyah Tapira, this man, stand up. My goodness, Spain, you have yourselves a Conor McGregor. But man, I got to be the first one to admit to y'all, man, I've never once doubted this man's talent. Aaliyah Tapira, there's videos of me out there 2 years ago talking about just how good this guy is when everybody was hyping up Bryce Mitchell. And I'm like, yo, you guys need to check yourselves. This man, Aaliyah Tapira, is an absolute dog, and look what he did to him. And like I said, I've never denied that man's talent, but even I got to admit, I thought the karma gods were gonna come back and bite him in the ass. Like, who sits there and talks that much shit about a champion, and especially a champion like Volkanovski, who's been proven for so long? And yes, you got to love the confidence and everything, but I think everybody in the world thought this man, Aaliyah Tapira, was almost a little too cocky going into this fight. And not only the shit talking and everything, but I mean, the number one rules of no goes for when it comes to jinxing yourself is don't touch a championship belt, a trophy or anything until you actually win it. And this man's out there stealing the belt from the at the press conference from Volk, a lot like Connor did Aldo. I mean, this guy's literally wearing the belt at the at one of the photo shoots and walks in front of Volk like, oh, how's it look, man? How's it look? And look what he did now. I mean, my goodness. And even with the fight, if we're looking at it, just when I thought Volkanovski was about to run away with that fight, he was looking good in the first round. He wasn't getting touched at all. And even in that second round, he really started to get the timing of Aaliyah Tapira. And that's what's so amazing about this dude. This man, Aaliyah Tapira, how many guys have we watched in that same position against, former champions like Aldo or former champions like Max Holloway or even Volk with what he's done to the Korean Zombie and Brian Ortega and stuff? You start seeing these guys that have so much confidence in themselves when they fight these guys like Aldo, Max, Volk, or you could even name other divisions. But I'm just saying, you see these guys start to second guess themselves, especially undefeated prospects like that, maybe not getting it going as quick as possible. They're going, man, it's almost 2 rounds now. It's almost 10 minutes, and I haven't even touched him once. I mean, he's starting to tie me up. He's starting to, really beat my leg up. He's starting to do all these things. And usually you'll see a guy start losing the confidence or start second guessing himself, especially talking as much shit as Tapira did. And that's what makes him so amazing. That man's patience, his belief in himself, just knowing that strike's going to come. I mean, my gosh, guys. And I mean, if we're being honest, I think the craziest thing of it all is just the comparisons truly to Conor McGregor. I know we can sit here and say, Tapir, like him taking the belt from Volk and all these things, like in red panty nights and stuff that this man was saying. Clearly, he's copying Conor McGregor and the blueprint that he already did. But, I mean, when's the last time you saw one of the goats of a division get absolutely starched, especially at 145? Conor versus Aldo. Like, not only is that crazy, I mean, the tattoos on the back, everybody's seen the comparisons, the chest tattoos, them being foreign, calling their shots, doing all these things. But the power, man, that is the difference. And I'm telling you guys right now, I think what I'm most excited for, if I'm being real with y'all, is we never got a chance to see just how good or how dominant Conor McGregor could have been as a champion. If we really remember, Conor McGregor doesn't even have a title defense in his career, and this man's still going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. But I think the UFC finally learned their lesson from letting Conor go and box and everything, that we're finally going to live, that Conor McGregor life through Aaliyah Tapira. Even if he loses his next fight, at least we can actually see what might happen with somebody that's dominant, that's good, that has that much confidence in themselves, that much belief, that much power. And finally, we could see what could happen. I mean, this man could really go on a run. And as a Max Holloway fan, clearly I'm a little excited to see Aaliyah win just because it opens up the division. It also makes you sad a little bit because, you always wanted Max to be the guy to beat Volk. But, I'm saying right now, guys, my boy Max Holloway is fighting Justin Gaethje, and Justin Gaethje probably one of the hardest hitter 155s we've ever seen. And I think I'd rather see him fight Gaethje than Tapira just because I don't want to see him get absolutely starched by Tapira. You're like, clearly, Max got the skill to stay away from him and to outstrike him and outclass him all 5 rounds. But I'm telling you guys right now, that man's got power. And we see what happens to Max when he's got power. So I'm telling you guys right now, that Yair Rodriguez fight, I think Yair Rodriguez versus Aaliyah Tapira might be one of the best fights that I've ever seen when it comes to stand-up. Maybe not the top two most talented guys in the world. No offense to Yair Rodriguez. He's just way more of a traditional karate, kickboxer, whatever, just a crazy striker, taekwondo, just crazy kicks that man's got. I would love to see him against Aaliyah Tapira. I'd love to see Evlov come up Tapira. Arnold Allen, that man, I'm telling you guys right now, there are so many possibilities in 145. I don't think I like the whole Conor McGregor call out because it's not going to happen. That dude's like, 190 pounds? He's got all these damn things going on. But I'm excited for this, man. This is, you got to feel bad for Volk in a way. Shouts out to Volk for always doing his thing, always stepping up. And, yeah, I guess in a way that Islam Makhachev fight, the head kick, it's got to have some sort of thing with his head. But I'm telling you guys right now, nobody's taking that punch that man took. Maybe Volk wouldn't have went out as bad as he did. That man was out for a little bit, but still, at the end of the day, this is what's the saddest part about this is as amazing as it is to see Aaliyah Tapira and that next new blood come in. It is sad to see 37-year-old Volkanovski get knocked out twice within 3 months, 4 months now, and it's like 2.5 months. It's depressing, and. I hate seeing the interviews at the end, but it is nice to see him kind of talk and, kind of fight for a rematch. But, like, come on now. I want to see Volk take a year, 2 years off. Maybe not two, clearly, because he can't fight till 40. But, I mean, I'd love to see him take a year off. Like, really, what else is there for him? You're going to rush back to fight Tapir again? What happens if you get knocked out again? You get knocked out 3 straight times. And, yeah, you can make the argument that they're the champions that you got knocked out by. But, like, man, you got kids. You got all these things going on in your life. You have one of the greatest, legacies of all time. Like, I'd rather see him, relax and not go out like a Chuck Liddell, not go out like the Bisbangs, not go out like all these guys that we see go out cold and lose the chin and everything because they're trying to rush back. And like Frankie Edgar at the end, we see it so many times, and it's just sad when it finally hits you, when the reality finally hits you. But, at the end of the day, you got to shout out to Volk. The man was looking good in the first 9 minutes of the fight that happened and just got caught at the end with a nasty right hook. But, shouts out to Aaliyah Tapira. And that, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, this kind of reminds me, like, as impressive as Aaliyah Tapira was and as much as he saved the day, you got to be honest here. This is exactly what my whole problem was tonight. If I had to be real with you guys, with the most, probably the most disappointing performance of the night had to be Ian Gary. Like, you see a guy like Aaliyah Tapira sitting out here saying, calling his shot like Babe Ruth, saying the most absurd things in the world, but backing it up and to make a name for himself. Ian Gary does that same stuff with the shit talking and everything, but tonight's performance was absolutely terrible, man. I'm not trying to like go in, out of order here, but if we're being real, the amount of shit talking, you're wearing the other guy's mugshot on your face or on your shirt, months leading into this fight, and you're sitting there running the entire time. Like, also, I don't want to be a bitch here because Jeff Neal is one of my favorite fighters, but what was up with Joe Rogan sucking Ian Gary's cock tonight? I don't know what it was, man. The first round, Ian Gary looked kind of, impressive or whatever, but, I really thought Jeff Neal won that fight. I really thought he won round 2. I thought he won round 3. I thought Ian Gary was trying to run the entire time. Ian, those knees up the middle were absolutely beautiful, and his, footwork was amazing. And Jeff Neal, a couple times, I was a little, like, disappointed with the clinching. But still, I thought Jeff Neal landed more. I thought he was pressing the pace more. Like, it wasn't 30-27 Ian Gary. That's all I got to say. And, it might have not been 29-28 Jeff Neal, but it was definitely at least 29-28 Ian Gary. I don't know, guys. I'm just saying, if you're going out there and you're running and you're not really, he had a couple nice kicks and whatnot, but he didn't put himself in danger. He didn't, he didn't even try to go for the kill. And that's what my problem is with Ian Gary. You're sitting here, you're making up all these things. You're talking all this shit. You're making up all these things about different fighters and, playing the victim as well with your wife. And then, yet you're sitting here calling yourself the biggest prospect in the world, and yet you're not even trying to fight. Like, what the heck, man? This is your perfect time to take out somebody like Jeff Neal, who nobody ever takes out. Shavkat, look what Shavkat did to Jeff Neal and had that war with him, is willing to throw down to make his name. That's just what you kind of expect out of Ian Gary. Like we're saying, like I just said with Leah Tapira, man, you got one chance to make your name here. You got one chance to be remembered. And it's just a little sad seeing these guys not really taking that chance. But I was absolutely impressed with Jeff Neal, as small as he was against Ian Gary. I just was expecting more for Ian Gary. Cool for him. Hopefully he gets that Colby Covington fight. I don't know what's going to happen. I was expecting way more. And if I'm being real with y'all guys, oh my goodness. As happy as I was about my boy Robert Whitaker getting the win, I think Robert Whitaker is probably my second or third favorite current fighter right now. As much as he looked great and everything, I was impressed by that man, Paulo Costa. I can't even lie to y'all. When's the last time you seen Paulo Costa come in with a game plan like that and actually execute it? Like, what, last time we saw him fight Yoel Romero? And even then, you could make an argument Yoel was 40 years old and, kind of not really in his prime still. But, I mean, that man against Whitaker tonight looked phenomenal. He was getting his legs beat up early. But, I mean, Jesus, that spinning heel kick at the end of the first round came out of nowhere. Oh my god, his lead head kick, all his head kicks were probably the cleanest I've ever seen. Those things were had so much heat on it, no telegraph on it. I mean, I was absolutely impressed with Paulo Costa by the end of that fight. Both guys looking like they're absolutely beat up. That might have been fight of the night. I mean, I'm just saying that shit, absolutely impressed. Shouts out to Robert Whitaker getting the win. It kind of went exactly the way I kind of said it was. If you guys watch the breakdown, definitely a lot of leg kicks, definitely a lot of jabs, definitely, the feints and whatnot. I thought he was going to throw a little more of his traditional, 1-2, same high side head kick. I thought he was going to throw that more. I think he only threw it once in the second round. But, I mean, all in all, both of those guys stock raised. I mean, for real, like, you haven't seen Paulo Costa in how long. He's backed out of how many fights. And to see that man come out and put on a performance like that, especially the last time we saw him, to be fair, it was an elevation, but that Luke Rockhold fight was so damn terrible. So shouts out to Paulo Costa, man. That was an impressive, and he won a fan out of me. I mean, I've always been kind of a fan, but I was kind of getting sick of his gimmicks. I was kind of getting sick of the whole Twitter stuff, and it's like, I want to see you fight. You were this big prospect, and then you lost 2 in a row to Izzy and the Vittori, and then you basically lost. Everybody lost in that Luke Rockhold fight. So to see him come back and fight such a killer like Whitaker like that, you got to respect that. And then Merab and Cejudo putting on one of the best fights that you could possibly watch. Things clearly, I get off when it comes to the knockouts and the striking and whatnot, the high-level striking clearly, but one of my favorite things in MMA is the high level of grappling. I mean, I'm telling you guys right now, I remember hyping up the Izzy Alex Pereira third fight, where just how amazing their strikes were, and just is the greatest, the distance control, everything. It was the highest level of striking you can watch, at least from kickboxing aspect in MMA and the UFC. And tonight to see Merab and Henry Cejudo go at it in grappling, I mean, some of those transition guys, some of the most elite grappling you can possibly see. Some of the takedowns Cejudo landed early. I thought Cejudo won that first round and a half, and then I thought Merab ran away with it in the last round and a half. So the 5-round fight, I think Cejudo was going to get absolutely exhausted, and I'm pretty sure a lot of us thought Merab was going to win by just grinding it out. But I'm telling you guys right now, I've already said this before. I think Merab Dvalishvili is probably the least, probably the last person in the world I'd ever want to fight. I think I'd rather fight Francis Ngannou. I'm not even joking. I know that Francis is going to knock me out. It's going to be quick. I'll make my money. Maybe I'll be brain dead for the rest of my life, but I won't really feel it, and I won't be exhausted. This man Merab is going to take you to the absolute depths of hell. He's going to make you realize, like, dude, my gas tank is gone 3 fucking hours ago, and this dude is pushing me. I'm throwing up. I can't even move. Like, then you got to try to strike again. You got to try. I'm telling you guys right now, that is absolutely exhausting. And shouts out to Henry Cejudo for still doing the damn thing at 37, 38 years old, whatever he is. But it's just sad, man, to see Henry Cejudo take those, 2 years off, 3 years off. It just absolutely killed him. As decent as he looked against Aljo, as decent as he looked against Merab, and if we're being honest, outside of maybe somebody like Corey Sandhagen, who could probably hurt Merab, Cheeto could hurt Merab there a little bit, Sean O'Malley could hurt him. If they can't stop him, man, I don't think there's a single person in the world that can beat him, and especially in a round like we just saw Henry Cejudo. He's got the grappling to do it, but clearly nobody's got the freaking gas tank to stick up with that man. I'm telling you right now, Merab Dvalishvili is going to be a champion. This man is ridiculous, and I hate to say it. If Sean O'Malley gets through Cheeto, I want to see Sean win. Clearly, if he knocks out Merab, I mean, that would be one of the craziest things in the world, but Merab's going to be champion, guys. I'm telling you right now, if Sean O'Malley can't touch that man, he's going to get absolutely just picked apart. And we're going to be seeing Merab as a champion. And truly, I don't think people are going to hate that, because it seems like everybody loves this man Merab. So I'm all in for it. The only thing I can truly say, though, could you guys imagine a Merab in a freaking Aljamain Sterling, just to see the grappling and the transitions these guys do in the gym? I couldn't imagine, dude. Those guys are, they got the 2 probably highest level of MMA grappling that you could possibly have. Like, seriously, those outside of Habib and all of them, clearly, but like at least at 135 and whatnot, absolutely phenomenal. Shout out to Mackenzie Dern for stepping up and still doing her thing. I mean, Amanda Lemos looked phenomenal, but still, Mackenzie Dern to stay in there after she almost got finished, to do her damn thing and look as phenomenal as she did, as in her looks, not as in her fighting. Shouts out to her. Oh my, Anthony Hernandez, Fluffy Hernandez, that man coming out doing the damn thing. I mean, sheesh, to take out somebody like Roman Kopylov, absolutely phenomenal. Just fights all over. Miranda Maverick won me some money. Some money out there. Hinyei Nakamura, like I said, that guy is an absolute killer. Watch for him, guys. But Sheesh, man. Aaliyah Tapira, shouts out to you, dude. This is why we got a superstar, and I can't wait to see what this man's gonna do. The UFC has learned they are not gonna let him do what Conor did. You're not gonna let him run the world. They're gonna go, hey man, we're gonna live it up with as much as we can do. And I'm telling you guys right now, the Max Holloway fight, absolutely fireworks. Yair Rodriguez fight, absolutely fireworks. I probably don't want to see the Brian Ortega fight, but let's be real. Brian Ortega can twist anybody up into a pretzel. You know, the Evlov fight, freaking phenomenal. Arnold Allen fight coming up, phenomenal. I'm just saying, there's so many potentials, right? There's so much potential right now for what this man Aaliyah Tapira can do. And I think we might finally see just how big of a superstar Conor could have became in the MMA and in the UFC or whatever, clearly. But I think we're going to see it with Aaliyah Tapira. And guys, let's just keep this real. UFC 298 and UFC 299 are going to be 300 times better than UFC 300, and we just got to stick to the facts and just admit it. But it's always your boy, Steven Moustaris, and what a fucking fight night, man. Sheesh.